Are you using just one mind palace? If so, you're missing out on a huge mind palace training secret. If you want to do better, quickly stick around. I don't know anyone who has done significant memory work for learning, for competition, or anything life-changing and fun that doesn't have multiple mind or memory palaces prepped and ready to go in their mind. So if you want these real skills, that's what you need to do too. Today we'll talk about why and how to generate dozens of mind palaces practically without batting an eyelid. Hello there, Magnetic Memorizers. This is Anthony Metivier from MagneticMemoryMethod.com, where I help mature learners of every age take mental adventures using memory techniques that automatically allow them to keep track of where information is in their minds. Not necessarily in their mind palaces, even if that is an important step. Our community helps you make learning easy, effective, elegant, and fun, so hit that subscribe button now and enable notifications with the bell icon. That way you won't miss a thing, especially our live streams, where you can hang out, ask questions, and meet the valuable members of the Magnetic Memory Method community. Now, this is video 3 in our Mind Palace Memory Training Secrets playlist, so if you haven't seen the first 2 parts, the link for both are in the description below. For now, the question is, why is it so important to unlock the fullest potential for your spatial mapping you have by creating multiple mind palaces? The answer is simple. 1, you get more powerful memory tools to use. 2, you unlock autobiographical memory by revisiting old locations. 3, you also unlock figural memory, procedural memory, episodic memory, semantic memory, and more. And by unlock, I mean that you get the brain cells in which these memories are contained rolling again, connections that lay dormant. They come to life again. Think of your memory as something like the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz. If you just let it sit there, it gets rusty and stiff. But by adding some oil to the joints, you can move again. And not just move, you can make your way to Oz and realize your full potential. So when we create mind palaces, this process of excavating as many locations as we can helps us weave multiple levels of memory together. I revisit a simple exercise of running through the alphabet to gather new memory palaces often, and am always amazed by the new ones I've gathered, and even more astonished by the ones that keep coming up from my childhood and younger life that have been laying dormant. The more I revisit the past and my memory of it, the bigger it seems to get in every way. And this is really like oiling old gears, because it is literally all happening in the neurochemical bath of your brain. The more you continuously create new mind palaces and then use them as quickly as possible, the more you can fluently access all these levels of memory. Make no mistake, far too many people try to get away with one memory palace. By doing so, they are locking themselves out of the same skill they're trying to achieve. They will never remember the dozens of friends, family members, teachers, preachers, store clerks, and more, not to mention the additional locations that stem from so many of these people. Is one of the biggest tragedies in all of memory training. And I'm not being dramatic, far from it, because this additional point is very important. Always understand that the value of creating these memory palaces is a brain exercise in and of itself. You're never wasting time, even if you don't use many of them. I have tons of memory palaces I never use myself, but by always increasing the amount of spatial memory we have immediate access to, we're reviving our neural networks, our synapses, and our dendrites, and preventing them from getting rigid. We keep them flexible, and all of this lends itself to having a greater success in life in general, because your brain is actually a physical thing. The more you're using it, the more it can be used. Now, I realize that it can be a bit of a stretch in the beginning, but everybody tells me that they have the exact same experience I went through myself when I discovered memory techniques during a dark depression. People feel like they loosen up, they mentally limber up, and they start to feel better and better. And then they learn and use the tools and start to remember more. One of the reasons why you'll feel better, and better if you do it consistently, is because you'll also create myelin in your brain. You'll also have more opioid receptors working their magic. The best part is that success with memory techniques creates dopamine spikes. And when you get dopamine and myelin starting to wrap around the neuronal sheaths and connect your synapses together as the positive and negative ions are flowing through them, it just feels really great. Now look, I'm not a neuroscientist, but 2 of my favorite books where you can check out these details for yourself are The Case for Mental Imagery by Stephen Kosslyn and The Brain, The Story of You by David Eagleman. And of course, I've spent many years now helping people master manipulating the brain cells involved in memory through tried, true, and thoroughly tested worksheets that will help you create your first mind palace quickly. Now there's no sexy title here, just a free program that will help you create dozens of memory palaces correctly so that they serve you for life. Just head over to magneticmemorymethod.com/YT and join thousands of people who have created thousands of memory palaces simply by completing this free course and using it to help you frame your mind palaces as efficiently as possible so that they are truly effective. And always remember this one rule. 1 is a very dangerous number if you want to excel at the mind palace or the memory palace technique. If you don't want to excel at using mnemonics and learning faster, no problem. Keep calm and let the rust take over. But if you're still watching, I can't imagine that's the case for you. And so with that in mind, let's look at the second and third reason we want to have multiple memory palaces. It's so that we can rapidly improve and scale. One of the problems with having one memory palace is that you just can't experience the role of spatial memory in a way that grows your skills. Think about baking cakes or whittling sticks. If you bake just one, you'll never become a real baker. You can't even possibly claim to understand the art after baking just one. Likewise with whittling a stick. Sure, maybe you made it sharp, but it's not an arrow. Far from it. You'll need to whittle a fair shake more before you even understand what goes into making something sharp and solid enough to fly through the air and hit a target. In my experience working with people, I've found that most really start to pop with this technique after they have created and used 10 memory palaces with at least 10 magnetic stations in each. In other words, they've memorized 100 things in 100 places. Does it take time and practice? Of course! What skill doesn't? But it's also only just more than 2 decks of cards and more than enough vocabulary to start having small conversations in a language. And it can happen faster than you think, such as when Amanda Markham memorized 200 words in just 10 days and Eldon Clem did 1,000 in 6 weeks. Those weren't easy languages either. And in both cases, it never could have happened without multiple memory palaces because you need both enough experience with spatial memory in several memory palaces to develop the skill, and you need that amount of space to work with that amount of information. Later, you can compress more info into smaller amounts of space if you wish, but chances are you won't want to do so because you'll prefer new memory palaces and rarely reuse the ones you have. At least, that's what I've done, and some of the world's best memory champions and experts agree, as you can learn in my video called The Definitive Guide to Reusing a Memory Palace. Even if you do go the route of reusing your mind palaces, which I sometimes do, usually for playing cards, the reality remains the same. Practicing this skill with multiple memory palaces gets you the skills faster and with greater depth and longevity. Personally, I'm doing all I can to use these techniques to make life richer, more exciting, and to improve the chances of living a healthy life with a healthy brain. Spatial memory and extending it to include as many memory palaces as possible is the best strategy I know, even if not all of them get used. It's still a great brain exercise, and as I showed on the live stream called How to Stop Overthinking the Memory Palace Technique, it takes about 2 to 5 minutes to come up with 26 every time I develop a new memory palace network using the magnetic memory method. You can check out the replay by following the link below. And next time, we'll talk about setting goals for creating your memory palaces and learning projects so that the positive outcomes you seek are in fact possible. At the end of the day, the skill that drives these memory techniques is the ability to set and complete proper goals. I can't wait to help you out. Thanks as always for the view. Special thanks to those who've been supporting the channel for a long time, and if you're new, get subscribed for more free training, hit the bell icon for live stream notifications, and hit that thumbs up so the robots know that people still care about the ancient art, craft, and science of memory. Until then, my friends, check out these recommendations and keep yourself magnetic.